and once again saying welcome because I saw the number of attendees is increasing. So once again, welcome. Study Environmental Sciences and Ecology in Germany study programs will be presented today. Here are our guests. Of course, I will present them separately as well. I want to mention about the organizer of the session, which is My German University, a database where you can find this and all other programs offered by German universities. Why this database is useful? Because you can always adjust different filters to see the most suitable program. And I think this is something in need because I do lots of also general webinars, and people ask me, I have specific IELTS score, which programs will accept me, and so on. You can also do it in the study finder, write all the information you have, what you want, and what you expect from the programs. And then you can filter the search results according to that and even sort them, for example, according to application deadline. We also have University Finder if you want to know more about different universities, their own events, how they support international students, and other things. Feel free to check UniFinder and the university profiles. When you have quick questions like about scholarship, visa waiting time, UniAssist, studying in Germany, promotion of child organizations, and other things, we have a number of articles, and I think these articles are quite useful, especially because they are written by internationals, not AI, and I think this is something very valid and very important these days. Our webinars, we try to make this search of universities and study programs also interactive so that you can meet your future program, or maybe you have already applied and you have follow-up questions to study course coordinators or program directors. And this way you can meet them in the webinars. In the webinars, you also get to know if there are some special cases or special offers that they have. So yeah, feel free to join them. And of course, thank you for the ones who have already joined. We also have general webinars about UniAssist, visa, scholarship, studying in Germany. And we are also starting German webinars, and it will be about Hochschule start and studying medicine. I know it's not relevant for today's topic, but in case you know somebody who wants to study medicine in Germany, we are also doing this. This is our team. We are based in Hamburg, Germany, right now super cold. But when you come to Germany, it will be better, I think. And yeah, we're counseling in different languages. Now I would like to give the mic right away to Professor Matthias, who will be presenting Master of Science Biosphere Reserve Management Study Program.
And welcome to everyone, wherever you may be joining us. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And I will present about the Master in Biosphere Research Management at the Eberswalde University for Sustainable Development, which is near Berlin. So relatively also close to where Nino is. And so a quick introduction. So that's myself a couple of years ago, and I lead the study program. And my professorship chair is on the ecosystem-based transformation management in UNESCO Biosphere Reserves. And probably you already noticed that there is a UNESCO logo here. So we are a UNESCO Category 2 institute, which is dealing with issues closely related to one UNESCO designation, which is the Biosphere Reserve. Therefore, we have this professorship. And I am joined with another professor who is on international nature conservation and social ecological sustainability processes, also in UNESCO Biosphere Reserves. And we are belonging to two different faculties or departments in the university. And in case any of you would be interested to apply, in the future, you will have our study program coordinator closely communicating with you. So 𝘗𝘢𝘵𝘀 who these two are not joining today. But in the course of application, etc., you will get to meet them. So just a quick introduction on UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. So there are several UNESCO designations, such as a World Heritage Site, the Ramsar Site, and the youngest is the Global Geopark. And we have the UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, which is not exactly a protected area, but it is having different zones where we look to have a harmony between society and nature. And therefore, we are focusing on this. And there are these three zones of a biosphere reserve. So the core zone is where normally you find your protected area, and then the buffer zone and the transition zone. And of course, our master program is closely following this biosphere reserve concept. So as you can see, it's very interdisciplinary. It has ecological and social systems, governance and management, as well as cooperation, communication, and learning, because we really want to equip our students to be ready to join, for example, biosphere reserve management in the future, or any other natural resource related professions. And we are also promoting the so-called transdisciplinary learning, which is defined, of course, as learning that takes place through collective and collaborative interactions across disciplines. So, for example, here they mention arts, natural sciences, social sciences, and with actors external to the higher education institution. So this is just an example of how we do our teaching. So we have quite a number of excursions. So in this case, you will see two of our students at the UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, 𝘗𝘠𝘵𝘳𝘐𝑵 in Latvia. And what are they wearing? They're actually wearing some special shoes for wetlands. And so normally we do these excursions to go and meet other biosphere reserves. And the master program is done starting during the winter term. And so that's around September, October, and it lasts for 4 terms. So that's essentially 2 years. So the medium of instruction is in English, and normally we would like students to study full time. So, you can already join the workforce right away after 2 years. And as you can see, the first and second term, these are dedicated to classroom instruction. So, of course, there are the excursions, but mostly still listening in to lectures. But the third term and the fourth term, everyone is free to go out there, do a research project or a so-called internship, and then the fourth term, the master's thesis and defense. So just to give you a rough idea of how the terms look like, so we have this, as mentioned earlier, right? Very interdisciplinary modules. So we have a mix of both soft and hard skills. So communication and team building, for example, would be a soft skill. And then later on, we discuss about political, legal, and international frameworks of UNESCO Biosphere Reserve's fundamentals of system functionality and change. Approaches and tools for research and monitoring, so very methodological types of information or knowledge, and as well as project management and innovation. So these are all mandatory, meaning all students would have to take these modules during the first term. In the second term, there's a little bit more of creative space for the students to choose what they would like to study. So as you can see here, the letter M, these are the mandatory modules, such as the land use systems, governance, administration, and management, and transformation and education for sustainable development. Then there are electives. So these are the electives that we offer, but students can also choose from other master's program. If they would like to do other electives there, it's also possible. And now going to the third and fourth term, as mentioned, so you will have the chance to go out of the classroom and just join a biosphere reserve or any protected area, any NGO. Some also do an internship in the academe for your research project in the third term. And in the fourth term, as mentioned, would be dedicated for the master's thesis. And some students actually use this third and fourth term, so the third term already, as a jump off point for the master's thesis. So very well connected. Some also don't. So it's up to the student. Again, there is some intellectual space for you to explore what you would like to do. And these are just some of the other professors who are teaching. And so just to give you an idea, with a very well gender balanced professors in the module. And this is the profile so far of our master program. We are relatively young. We only started around 2020, and we now have around 130 students from 23 nationalities and across the 5 continents. And so if you're interested for our master program, so please just take note of the email info.𝘱𝑒𝑒𝑚@hnee.de. And if anyone is in Germany or is planning to travel to Europe this April, so there are some in-person possibilities to tour the campus on the 2nd of April, as well as there is the big University Information Day happening on the 6th of June. So that's a very interesting festival within the small city, our small city, which is near Berlin. But so thank you very much. And for any questions, yeah, we can answer that later on. Thank you.
So hello from my side. So my name is Probst Jürler. I'm the program manager for the Bachelor program Bioeconomy and also for the Master Bioeconomy. In the next few minutes, I'd like to tell you something about a little bit of the Technical University of Munich and especially of our campus in Straubing. So yeah, this is what it's about now, the next few minutes. So where we are in Bavarian. So, and Munich is in Lower Bavarian and Straubing is about 1.5 hour, far away from Munich, but we have trains and things like that. So it's also moving to go around. So up to 2017, we are officially a location of the 𝘚𝘚, and we are so-called integrative and interdisciplinary research centers. So our aim is that we build up the entry value chain of biogenic raw materials and residues, and therefore we bring all disciplines in our campus together. So from natural science up to management, economics, data science things. So, and therefore we are, a special campus out of Munich. So some impressions of our campuses and also, the buildings. Also our new building near the Donau, so very nice building, also with, the background of sustainability and, building with some wood also. Then the bird's eye view of our campus. In the background, you can see the Bavarian forest. So very, nice nature also in the surrounding of Straubing. Yeah, then to the important thing about the degree program and also information application and things like that. So our biggest challenge in the today's century is the sustainability and also the waste, the trash. How can we change the planet to a greener one, a more better one for the next generation, so with lower CO2 emissions, for example. So, and therefore the campus is built and we are searching for solutions to transit the whole economy towards a greener or sustainable one. And therefore all the disciplines are integrated and each part of the disciplines can take a lead to transform this transition. So, and therefore all our study programs at Straubing are very interdisciplinary. So we are not focusing on one specific topic in our programs. So we have more topics into see the whole overview, and especially in the bioeconomy program, this is more focus on the economic side, but also management aspects, natural sciences in that you can understand the whole economy and also find then solutions to transit it into greener way of living. So the bachelor program is a full-time study program with 118 credits including the bachelor thesis. So we have 6 semesters of studying. The language of instruction is completely English. We are based in Straubing. So what are the topics we address in this program? So first of all, the basic of this program is always the biogenic resources and residues. So how can we build up new products out of these materials, and also make new ones, and for example change it and need oil-based products, for example. How can they implement in the economy? How can the society also give this some more impact? Also, the politics and governance in the program are very well addressed. So how can the politics change it? What regulations are in the different lands and also countries? The international trade section also very important. So which regulation from the world impact other countries in the way of building up the economy, innovation, startups. So also this is very important sections in the program. Also renewable energies, what do we have? How can this also help to transform the economy? Also this is social responsibility is a very important section of this thing. Also circular economy, how can we lead products into a cycle, and also then leave waste. So what we expect from the skills, or what the graduates can get at the end, is that the graduates support and can shape the necessary transition towards a sustainable value-based economy. So they need, or they get knowledge in different areas that they can really lead this transition. So therefore, in the bioeconomy, you not only have economy or management modules, you also have material science, biochemistry, energy and process engineering, also circular economy and things like that. And that you get a more detailed overview about this, I have brought you the study plan of the Bioeconomy Bachelor program. So you see it's a 6-term Bachelor program, which starts with basic courses, for example, mathematics, statistics, then economic ones as macroeconomics, but also natural science courses. This is physics or environmental resources in a changing world. Also, you learn where our products come from, what you can put up in the module of production of biogenic resources. Then you go over into more economic-based things than environmental and resource economics. Also policy and innovation, circular economy, and the light blue modules you can then change or decide by your own which courses you like to take. So these are more courses out of the natural base ones, or economics courses or management courses. So you can build your own focus in this bioeconomy program, and in the end up with the bachelor thesis, and then you hold up the degree in the bioeconomy Bachelor of Science. So also that you go a little bit more into our professors. So this is our team of professors for the management and economics section. So where you mostly have to do with them, but also with the natural professors, you can have many courses if you like to. Then to the application. The application period always opens on the 1st of May till the 15th of July. The whole application runs completely online, so you can create on the portal your own degree. We have step-by-step instructions, so it's very easy to go on. Also with YouTube videos, if they have any further questions, we are here to help. Also the whole immatriculation into the program is completely online, so it's not necessary to send something per post to our university. So this is very easy. The important thing is that you fulfill all the requirements and upload all your documents till the end of the deadline. Then how is the student life in Straubing? So we are a smaller campus, so therefore we have smaller groups, and also the distance to the professorships or teachers, lecturers, also the administration staff is very close. So if you need help, there's not far away, and you get much help if you like to. We are a very young campus. We have really new buildings and also modern laboratories. The living costs also in Straubing are very low. And also the surrounding in Straubing is very beautiful, and there are many offers for you. And also the students here at our campus are very active, so they're built of many events and things like that. So there's for everybody anything that they can do. Also, here's some impressions of our city. We have maybe the second biggest Volksfest. So after the Oktoberfest in Munich. And so we are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and so on. Also on the homepage, you find much more interesting things if you like to. Otherwise, you're welcome to contact me under my email address. Also, I'm offering consultation hours every Tuesday. And also on the website, you can find more information if you like to. So therefore, thank you for your attention, and hopefully you get some insights into the programs. And if there are any further questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to introduce our program Global Change Ecology. It's part of the elite network of Bavaria since 20 years now. So we celebrate our birthday this summer. 20 years ago, we started with this program, and we're aiming to address, I would say, the most important challenges for our planet, which is biodiversity loss, climate change, and how that is reflected then in the society and also in economy and in policy. So we want to establish an exchange between these fields and communication, and that is why we accept students from all fields, so we don't have restrictions to natural sciences or economy. So the next slide here is the city of Bayreuth. Again, a small city, very cozy place, a very nice surrounding, high diversity, and a rather young university. The entire university is only 50 years old. And so it's a very safe and nice place, and also the costs of living are quite affordable in comparison to big cities in Germany. This is some impressions on the campus. We have a huge, very modern ecological botanical gardens, and all the facilities and the lecture rooms are very nearby in, as you can see from here, very modern buildings. So our program is addressing these three large topics: global climate change and ecosystems, and then biodiversity and ecosystem functioning, and then connected to that in an interdisciplinary way, global policies, economies, civil society, and the environment. And here are some buzzwords like carbon cycle, soils, water, pollution, biodiversity, but also health and risks, natural hazards, economy, governance. So all that plays together. And our program is aiming to train leaders in the future, leaders in science, leaders in policy, leaders in the society, because for many of these very complex changes in our environment, there is no ready-made solution. So of course there is laws and regulations, but most of these problems are emerging in recent years, and there is no engineering approach just to solve all of them, because they are just too complex, and we need also a transdisciplinary skills from our students that they will use then in the future to hopefully address and solve these problems. So this is the structure of our program. So 4 terms, 2 years. And you see from the different colors that, well, we start with an orientation module because our students come from very different fields. Then there's 2 majors that students will be able to choose. But in the first term, you have to address all the 3 fields. And then you would decide where you specialize from the second term on. There is a large option for methodological courses, and there is also courses for research skills. There's free choice modules, and you can do a focus module as well to specialize. In addition, we do have science schools that we organize ourselves, but we also accept summer schools or field camps and internships, and students are very free how they distribute their times in this field. And all that is accomplished with the master thesis then in the fourth term. So we have much more choices than you can ever take. So in all of these fields, so we have 14 courses in the first modules. So on climate change, we have 13 courses in biodiversity-related modules and also in society-related modules. So that means our students will individually put their emphasis and their focus on what they select to follow their individual interests. And first of all, we do have a large spectrum of method and skills related courses. Like here are some examples like statistics, GIS, remote sensing, simulations, modeling, field surveys, Earth observation, policy, and also then management and economy-oriented courses. So it's just some highlights, like also AI for spatial data analysis, or also field courses in the Alps, modeling courses, and also sustainable finance and corporate nature reporting courses. So this is very diverse, and diverse is also the group of our students. So we have many nationalities enrolled in our program. You can see here from the world map, the currently enrolled students come from different continents, different nations. And you can also see from our welcome event for this year's, well, currently studying students that, well, we have a very high diversity in our students. We do also introduce them to the landscape. So we do some social events and field excursions and field trips to the neighboring mountains, to the 𝘱𝘢𝘵𝘪𝘵𝘪𝘱, for instance, which is granite rocks and boulders, or to the Jurassic mountains with caves, but also castles and historic buildings, where we always link the natural history and the societal history to give a feeling on how the landscape, biodiversity, but also geodiversity and climate interacts with land use and the development of societies. This is one example of our science schools well, I will be there in 3 weeks from now. La Palma Science School. We go to La Palma because La Palma is a fantastic testing ground and like a natural laboratory for doing biodiversity related studies. So it is like a mini continent. It ranges from the sea level to the alpine zone. It has desert-like ecosystems and laurel forest. And it's all quite simple. And we train our students to develop their own research project, starting from the generation of hypotheses to the selection of methods, then data collection, data analysis. And that in all is going from November to July, basically with a stay in between for 2 weeks for data recording. But every group of students has their own individual projects because we want them to start being scientists from the very beginning and not after they have completed a master degree. Our students are also invited and supported also financially by us to join United Nations conferences or IPBES conferences. Here's some very recent impressions from the COP30 on climate change, but we also visit the COPs on biodiversity loss. And our students are real official, so they have an official status in these conferences as observers and reporters. And you can see that they are also acknowledged by media. And they also join, like for IPBES, they join these conferences, like recently in Manchester, in England, as volunteers. So our students are really supporting also the organization of these conferences. And so they get real insights on how policy can succeed, but also how policy can fail. and what happens behind the scenes in these international conferences. So we have always a group of students, which is a student board. So the student board is sort of the advocates for student interests. So the link between students and professors, just to enable and also easy the communication and the exchange of the information between students and the lecturers. And you can see here Clara, Hannah, Benedict, and Golden, which are our current student board. And the students themselves, they have established their own alumni association, Friends of Global Change Ecology. That was not initiated by professors, but it was initiated by the students themselves. So it's a real association where students can join, but also alumni can join. And it's a real well-functioning network, also enabling ongoing students or current and young students to get in touch with alumni that are working for international institutions or in research or for companies or in consulting. So to have a common ground also, and to get from the very beginning of the studies a network for the real life after the study program. The students also have their own blog, which I don't have any idea about it because it's all driven by our students. And I like this very much, that the students have a very strong feeling of a corporate identity for this study program, so that they really take over after a short time already, and they manage things like this blog here. And they also initiated some projects like this 𝘗𝘢𝘔𝘷𝘦𝘳𝘵 in order to do something in practice, hands-on themselves, planting trees that are climate adapted also in the near future. And that is going on. And here, just a hint for the elite network of Bavaria. That is a network of study programs which is additionally funded by associations from economy, basically. So it's not taking money from other study programs, but it's bringing additional money and also staff. So we have several additional staff positions only for our program, which is funded by this elite network of Bavaria. So, and recently we had a graduation ceremony in Erlangen. So that was just a few weeks ago. And here you can see that our students get their degree, their certificate by the Minister of Bavaria for Science and Arts, Markus Blume. So it was a very big party with many of the elite network study programs, and it's also a very nice event that happens annually. So as also being told in the other study programs, you can inform yourself, of course, in addition by these web pages. Application is only online. Deadline is 15th of June, so quite a bit earlier than in other programs, because we need the time for between the acceptance and the start of the program then in October for international students when they have to apply for visa. And some German embassies are not so fast that this works well if the time is too short. So there is a two-step aptitude assessment because we have many applications for this program. There's the first pre-selection. It's based on your bachelor degree, for instance, and letters. And then if you pass the first pre-selection, you will be invited for a personal interview by Zoom, for instance, just to identify whether you have really the profile for our program that we have in mind. There is also for international applications, a VPD via UniAssist is required, but the study program itself is cost-free. There is no tuition fees. Here are our coordinators. Sylvia Spröthuber is also in the Zoom today, and Dr. Stefanie Thomas and Mathilde Müller-Lohler. That means you have direct partners to get information to get also support and guidance for the application procedure. Yeah, and we are very happy to look forward for your applications. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jacob Wolfram. I'm the study advisor for the program of environmental pollution management, or in short, ecotoxicology, here at the RPTU in Landau. And yeah, I want to dive right in with you. So the program itself always starts in the winter semester. So in Germany, that means the mid of October. It is tuition free. And if you're an international applicant, then the application deadlines are June 15th for non-EU citizens and July 15th for EU citizens. And all of the applications are handled by UniAssist and are prior validated before they are being forwarded to us. Teaching in our institute or in our program is always in presence, and we keep a face-to-face scenario and always aim for a maximum of 25 to 30 students so that we have a good student to professor ratio, and that will also be the case in the coming years. The location here is Landau in der Pfalz. It's a small city in southwest Germany. I'll get into that in just a moment. And the minimum required grades are a 3 out of 4 on the CGPA scale, or something equivalent in your country if you don't have a 4 CGPA scale. Or on the German grading scale, that would be a minimum of 2.5. So Landau is, as I said, in the southwest corner of Germany. It's in the Rhine Valley. It's quite warm here. It is a student city. We currently have approximately 50,000 residents. 10,000 of them are students. So yeah, we have a good student to resident ratio in total. And because we are a smaller city, that also means we are directly bordering natural areas. The UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, the Palatinate Forest, is directly at our doorstep. So a lot of our students and also us professors are hiking, biking, climbing, and sightseeing quite regularly here. So if you need a break from studying, this can be done quite enjoyably here in the surrounding landscape. The university itself currently has around 70,000 students, and 60% of them are female students. And we are not the only environmental program here. We have 6 B.Sc and M.Sc programs that are in the general domain of environmental sciences with kind of different focal areas. And that means you are, of course, also interfacing with other students that generally share the interest of solving or understanding environmental issues. And yeah, these programs are then again distributed or kind of brought together by 13 departments of environmental sciences, and they can be quite different, something like environmental economics or environmental chemistry, or very small scale stuff like molecular ecology. And before I go into the program itself, one important thing for international students, and I assume most of you that are joining are international students, is that kind of starting your study in Germany can be quite challenging if you're coming from abroad. And that's why we have a so-called Welcome Center that is headed by my colleague Manuela Roth. And what it does is it helps the new students before they arrive here and throughout their studies. So that starts, for instance, with making sure that everything for your application is in order, that your visa applications are progressing well, that the onboarding is working out. So pretty simple stuff like grabbing you or taking you from the train station so that you get to your room in one piece. And so they also organize the accommodation for you, make sure that all the insurances are in place. They organize buddy programs so that you always have somebody on your side in the beginning that can guide you through the start of your studies. They organize free German language courses, exchange programs with partner universities, and many more things. And the only thing that I want to get across is that there is kind of a department with the sole purpose of ensuring that you have a successful start and a successful continuation of your studies. But what is ecotoxicology? So I would say we always have this two-step approach if I'm speaking very broadly. The first thing is that we always want to identify and then quantify the effects that primarily chemical stressors can have on environments. And once we have identified and quantified these effects, The next thing is that we want to develop solutions or management strategies in order to reduce these adverse ecological effects. And if you want to have a more detailed explanation, then I invite you to go to our small YouTube channel. I go into more detail there, and also I kind of show you how this broad topic of ecotoxicology is actually being practiced here in Landau. But why should you maybe be interested to study such a program? And one thing I always found quite interesting was a paper by Bernard et al. And there are so-called global drivers of change. And what was observed is that one of the most rapidly rising one is the production and the release of synthetic chemicals into our environment. So what we are observing or have observed over the past decades is that we are faced with an increased chemization of environments. And so, of course, it is required that we understand what this chemization does to our ecosystems and how we can alleviate potential issues. And that means in ecotoxicology, you have to approach these questions from various scales and from various points of view. This can be a very small scale investigation of small laboratory experiments that can be a bit bigger when we are going into landscapes and are studying mechanisms, or sometimes we do full ecosystem analysis when we are tracking pollutants throughout diverse landscapes or across rivers. And sometimes we go even larger scale when we are employing landscape or national studies where we want to understand these larger scale patterns of effects that chemicals can have. That means you can, for instance, specialize more in understanding chemicals by diving deeper in chemical analysis, but it will also require you to dive deeper into the regulatory background. And so you could, for instance, specialize in risk assessment aspects. But we also train our students and put a lot of emphasis on disseminating, so presenting and communicating your results as it is required later on in your academic career if you are visiting or contributing to scientific conferences. But sometimes you want to approach these large-scale issues or topics from the safety of your computer, and that is what I'm doing. So you can also specialize in computational ecotoxicology, so kind of answering these questions from a more mathematical or data-driven perspective. But ecotoxicology being a large-scale topic also means that you need to exchange, for instance, with partner universities. There are some students that visited or exchanged with the University de Sorbonne. And finally, we, of course, organize in kind of these international workshops where practitioners or also students from all over the world come in to learn more about ecotoxicology. So our master in Landau is an international master. That means normally we have a ratio of 75 to 80% of international students. And we put a lot of emphasis of integrating you into our research. For instance, in the second week of your first semester, all of our professors and postdocs come in and they present their current ongoing project. And then you as a student can pick one of those projects and become part of it for a week or two so that you meet the postdocs, that you meet the researchers in general and get a first glimpse into it. You also have the opportunity to personalize your studies to a certain degree through optional modules. I'll go into that in just a moment. And very importantly, we have a mandatory internship. The internship is important because then you can kind of learn a bit, what is something that would interest you later on in your professional career. It's also always kind of the stepping stone of getting to know your future employer. And also it's simply an important part of gathering more practical experience. And lastly, we have this large research project prior to our master thesis. This is again to give you more opportunity to obtain the tools necessary for proper scientific work so that you're also starting well into your master thesis and have everything that you need to succeed in there as well. I will not go into detail about these modules and the structure. The only thing that I want to get across for you is that during the first semester, we are building the basis with you. That means advancing your chemical knowledge, advancing your data analysis knowledge, because ecotoxicology is a heavily data-driven discipline. But of course, you have to learn the principles of ecotoxicology, but also the effects of chemical stressors. And it's always a mix of theoretical, but also practical work, for instance, in the lab. In the second semester, then we provide you with a lot of free time, essentially, where you can plan your mandatory internship that lasts between 2 to 4 months. But also we dive more into molecular ecology and other topics. In the third semester, we bring then everything together by giving you the tools of modeling ecotoxicology, but also on how to assess the risk and the management strategies of chemical pollutants. And importantly, this large research project course, which is kind of a small master thesis where you for the first time have the opportunity to be the lead scientist in your own project that you then conduct and summarize in the end, so that you can directly transition into your master thesis with all the necessary tools at hand that are required in order to successfully and well complete such a large kind of effort that is the master thesis, which concludes the fourth semester. Most of our lectures are accompanied by international guest lecturers that also bring into play their knowledge in the field. And because ecotoxicology is kind of a diverse discipline, also means the future employment opportunities are diverse as well. Many of our former students are currently working in industry. That can be, for instance, large chemical firms like BASF and Bayer, but others go down the road from kind of local up to federal or international agencies. You can, of course, stay in research, such as myself, or you can go down the route of work in consultancies. And lastly, but definitely not least, given the rise of the chemization of our environments, NGOs are also looking for well-trained ecotoxicologists that are able to kind of understand and quantify these large-scale and complex patterns that chemical pollution can have. Here are some testimonials. You don't have to read over them. They are also on our website, but should only give you an impression about kind of the diverse future employment opportunities that may come your way. It's also important that I want to highlight that ecotoxicology is a very heavily research-driven discipline. And despite us being one of the smaller universities, we regularly publish in high-ranking journals, and we want to continue doing so. And that's why we try to integrate our best students actively into our ongoing research projects as well. One more thing regarding research perspectives, we are currently still running our graduate college. A graduate college is a very large and long-term opportunity where we train more than 36 PhD students over time. And in addition to associated PhDs, principal investigators, and so on. And our graduate college wants to investigate the interaction, or does investigate the interactions between terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems and how they change under anthropogenic stress. And of course, ecotoxicology again is there in the center of this research question. And that's why a lot of our students are also actively involved as associated researchers, for instance, in our graduate college. We finally have our new laboratory building. We are very happy about that. It took quite some time, but now it's there, and we have far more space for chemical analysis and molecular analysis. But we sometimes also do very small scale stuff, like operating in climate chambers or doing population scale studies in our stream microcosms. We also have a large stream mesocosm facility where we can kind of increase the complexity of kind of mimicking fluvial ecosystems and putting them under chemical stress. Or if you want to go even bigger scale, then you can go to our Oestertal Ecosystem Research Station, where we have this kind of unique setup of investigating these large pond mesocosms, where we, in this case, for instance, investigated effects of pesticide spraying on emergent insects and primary producers. One more thing that we built for our graduate college is a kind of very unique research facility. It's the so-called riparian stream mesocosm facility. What we're doing there is we can mimic or we rebuild more or less small stream features and also the adjacent terrestrial ecosystems. And so we can investigate not the combination, the connectivity of aquatic stress onto terrestrial ecosystems, but also the stress from terrestrial ecosystems onto aquatic ecosystems. And there's a lot of research being done there, part of the graduate college, and a lot of our students are helping out there, writing their master thesis there, or just earning a little bit of money on the side as supporting researchers. There are more research facilities, such as in sea building and so on, but this is something that you may find out if you decide to come here to Landau. And with that being said, I want to close with some very general information. If you have any questions or simply want to gather more insights, then simply visit us on master-ecotoxicology.de. You can also keep being updated from our blog. It's the Ecotox blog. We report on ongoing research, new publications, student events, or simply post job opportunities for our students. We are also represented on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and so it's also something to keep track of what we are doing. Also have a small YouTube channel, so if you want more information, just go on Master Ecotoxicology on YouTube and you find us there. And last but not least, you can always simply write me an email and ask me directly if something is unclear. I'm always quite quick to respond, and so feel free to get in touch. With that being said, thank you very much for your attention, and maybe we see some of you here in Landau.
From our side. And now let's start with a Q&A. Yeah, as promised, let me continue with Jakob. The question was, I would like to ask if I can apply for the master's program with having the cellular and molecular biology bachelor degree.
Generally, yes. What I would always recommend is simply send me a transcript of records. I give you an honest assessment whether you are eligible to apply, and generally also I tell them what the chances of admission are for our program.
Mm-hmm. The question for Bayreuth, is it more like environmental science or pure ecology with advanced math?
Yes, all of that. So it is, of course, environmental science, but aiming at the global scale. And it's integrating abiotic, biotic, and societal aspects. So, of course, students will specialize, but we accept students from all fields. But if you come from humanities, for instance, you need to have a strong interest in natural sciences, and also the other way around.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Let me stay with you, Professor. There was another question that I also want to ask all master's programs. If I don't have field experience, will professors expect me to learn or catch up very fast?
Well, of course, we expect everyone to learn very fast. But as we have a small group of students in the end and a high number of supervisors, I think there is an excellent support for learning. Wherever you come from. So if you are a biologist, for instance, we expect that you are interested also in climate and atmosphere and in the society. If you come from economics, of course, we are expecting that you are interested in biology and biodiversity. So we want students that look beyond their current horizon, because that's exactly what is needed. So we don't need only specialists. If we are training leaders, they need to understand cross-disciplinary connections.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Let me ask the same question to Jakob.
I'm sorry, I
About
checked my answer.
expectations.
Can you please repeat it briefly?
Exactly. If I don't have field experience, will professors expect me to catch up very fast?
It's hard to answer, I would say. I mean, It depends. I cannot give a general answer to that. I mean, we only admit students that have a very good fit to our program, and so normally the students that are admitted don't have large areas of concern, I would say. And so there are, if you are admitted to our program, then there isn't too much to catch up. But we have kind of this we have the support system in place. If you are weak in one domain, let's say in chemistry, as an ecologist, for instance, then we provide learning materials in advance so that you can improve in in your area of weakness before coming to our program, so that you have a more or less smooth start to our program. Yes.
Thank you. Professor Matthias, the same question for you about expectations.
Yes, so I think just judging from the students that we have, so there are students who are already very advanced in terms of field experience, for example, and there are those who are coming off just a bachelor. So I would say that based on what we teach with the excursions, that we also provide the field experience, but of course, this comes out later on during perhaps examinations, etc. So probably the difference would show in that case. But just to say that we also have some ways for those who don't have that experience to catch up.
Thank you. I have two questions for Tum. One was partially also answered by Viola in the Q&A. Was about the prep course, and you said you have preparation courses, but I think this was also in direction of Studienkolleg. If you have any partnerships with Studienkolleg for internationals, and the second thing. I saw a few questions about this language certificate, and then double checking, is it really that I can apply without a language certificate? Maybe it could be interesting for others. Could you voice this as well?
Yeah, so first of all, we also have student colleagues at TUM. You can find more information on the main homepage of the Technical University of Munich. So, and for the bioeconomy program, it's okay if you do the W or T colleague. So, because the program is very interdisciplinary, so we don't only allow one course. So, two colleagues are also allowed, but you also can come up with the questions to the central offices if you are not clearly about this. And the second question with the language certificate, yes, it is the case that you don't need a German or English certificate, language certificate to apply for the bachelor program in bioeconomy. You only need for international ones, you need the VPT from UniAssist. The CV, passport, ID card, and things like that, but no language certificate is required. So, so you don't need it.
Okay, thank you so much. There is this question which came quite early in, and I think it's for Professor Matthias, but if somebody else also wants to answer this one, please go ahead. And if it was directed to somebody else and you understand it better for the context, correct me, please. If climate policy direction changes in future, will this degree still stay relevant?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it actually came during the bioeconomy bachelor's
Okay.
or mine. Yeah, so I think it came during the bioeconomy, so with Viola. But I would say, of course, it would still be relevant, any of those that we have here, because the courses that are offered are not just focusing anyway on climate policy. So that's my quick answer.
Also, I would say, of course, also when the politics change, somehow we will have politics and always climate change and things who goes on in the global structure. So therefore, I think the need is also in 10, 20, 50, 100 years here to focus on.
Well, I can also comment on it. So, of course, policy will change. So it will not be constant, and it must change also in many cases. And well, students need to be trained in a way to react flexibly to these changes, because decisions have to be made based on their knowledge and not on regulations that can rapidly be outdated.
Maybe Wolfram, if you, Jakob, if you also want to comment on this. If not, then I have a few questions for you.
Yeah, I think the other programs are better suited to talk about climatic factors.
Yes.
They are relevant in ecotoxicology as well, but I think they're not at the core of our research question.
There was again another question about the admission with degree in geography. Will the advice be the same to send you the transcripts, or you have a different answer here?
I would generally, if it's about our program, I can take the time to look over the transcripts. It's I can give a better assessment if I have the time to look it over properly.
A question for Bayreuth. I know they mention modeling and data. What if I have never coded before?
Then you will learn it very easily. Of course, well, not everyone in this program needs to do modeling. So as I illustrated, there's a great choice of different modules. But modeling is a very important tool to project future developments. And that applies as well to climate, where we mostly use the modelings that are the models that are available, like global circulation models. But it also applies to ecosystem responses and to biodiversity changes. So you can hardly predict future developments just based on the current situation. You need to be able to model and simulate future trends. And that is trained in various courses.
Let me ask you another question. I know you mentioned it during the presentation about GIS and remote sensing, but the question is, so do we study it, and are they major or not? And I think also Sylvia wants to answer something live about living costs later.
Okay, then first for GIS and remote sensing, it applies the same. So if you are interested in these and you see the importance, you can choose the courses. They're not mandatory for everyone. No course in the different modules is mandatory. So in every group like climate change, biodiversity, or society, there's a choice of different modules. And if you're more interested in learning that, there's the opportunity to do so, because data availability and geodata is so rapidly increasing, and the society has invested so much money. Like the European Union has made his contribution to Earth observation and to GEO, so to the group on Earth observation with the Copernicus program, Sentinel satellites. So it's many billions of euros that are invested in making data available, freely available, so that you don't have to pay for these data, but you need to understand how to use it, how to benefit from this spatial information. And if you're interested in that, of course, you will have the options to learn it.
There was a question also about the gap, but it's gone now. So there was a thing about the gap from bachelor to master. If there was 6 years of gap and the person was in the industry collecting experience, will that be a problem for you?
So if I need to answer again, so we don't make any bias on selecting the students in terms of gender, in terms of age, in terms of background. So we are aiming to identify personalities. And if we have several students that worked in practice after their bachelor and then applied for a master program, and they are enriching the group of students, of course, with their experience. as we also have students from many different continents, and the discussions within the groups of students are very fruitful because so many different perspectives come together, and not just a academic viewpoint that is based on just indoor laboratory whatsoever computer-based research that is far away from practice and from reality in different parts of the world. So that is why, of course, we're even happy if students have a certain background in practice, but it's not mandatory. So we select really, I would say, for the individual personality, and not so much for grades, or what also plays a role, of course, but not so much and only for grades or for a specific linear career. So we rather hope also for non-linear life plans.
Mm-hmm. I see the feedback also from Professor Matthias for the same question. So yeah, it's not it will not be a problem also to apply. And Jakob, I think it's the same with you, or do you have different?
Yeah, we take professional experience into account, particularly if it is relevant to our domain. And so, for instance, if you're also not directly meeting the grade, I mean, we had some applications with a 2.9 GPA, for instance, and then this can actually be what is tipping the scales for an admission. If you had, in the meantime, relevant professional experience, then this can improve your chances of admission.
Mm-hmm. And let me ask the same question to Viola about gap, because one of the requirements is also to provide CV, and then frequently applicants, especially like abroad, it's not that common to have lots of internships or so during high school or during school at all. Do you recommend taking a gap year to gain something, to have a richer CV, or it's also possible to apply right away?
Yeah, so definitely possible to apply, and it's up to the applicants how they structure their life or like to doing an internship. The important thing about to the application and complete CV is that you listen all the steps you have done during your life. So it's not okay if you miss 5 years. So we like to know what you have done those 5 years, but we don't care about if there's a gap or not. Also, if you like to apply for most of our campus.
Mm-hmm. And the very last question is about the admission results. How quickly can they it's a bit in a negative way asked question why we need to wait so long, but let's put it positive. How quickly do we get a feedback? Whoever wants to start.
I can briefly
Yeah.
do this. I mean, from my perspective, Unisys normally takes 2 to 4 weeks to process proper files, and then normally we reach our decision in the admissions council after 1 week. Sometimes we take 2, but normally within 5 working days.
Mm-hmm. Professor Matthias or Viola, it's you're already admitted. Okay.
For us, it's I think, yeah, it could be around a month as well after the submission. But normally, so there are different ways of the admission being processed. So there are some programs. So for Biome, for example, for our program, we try to process it as quickly as possible. So as soon as the documents come in, then we try our best within 2 weeks, have it out. But there are also some programs that wait until the deadline before, it's only after the deadline that they really process the document. So I guess like it really depends. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for us, as early as you apply, as soon you can get the result. As for the bioeconomy program, you only have to upload a few documents. So if you put it in the right way, then it's normally 1-2 weeks after you get the result. As long as you wait till the end from the deadline, we get more applications, and therefore maybe it took 1-2 weeks longer than at the beginning of the application period time. But normally we are very quick.
Mhm.
Well, I think the same applies to us in Bayreuth. So we have this deadline in mid-June, but if the documents and anything is complete and the first threshold is passed of the pre-selection, we are already doing interviews and more or less directly inform candidates then, even weeks before the deadline. So just enable students from countries where it's difficult to get a visa within a short time period to have more flexibility and more likelihood that they can really start the program then in autumn.
Thank you.